Hi guys, so before we get into it, a couple of quick disclaimers. Firstly, you'll find all my other reviews for Children of the Corn in my Stephen King playlist, and there will be spoilers today. So when it comes to the third of these, I wish I'd paid a bit more attention to the word urban in Urban Harvest when I bought my trilogy box set. If I had, I might have been a bit more mentally prepared for the idea of a Children of the Corn movie set in a city. Changing the location in a horror franchise is nothing new. Most people will remember Jason going to New York and Michael Myers going to a Californian high school. Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home, anyone? But when this happens, it's usually when a series has run out of steam, it needs fresh impetus. I don't think we'd reached that point with Children of the Corn yet, so I was a little bit disappointed when I found out what this film was going to be doing. So this one was directed by a guy called James D.R. Hickox. You might remember him from such films as Which Way to Oz and the hit TV show Peter Andre's Greek Odyssey. So to give you an idea of the plot, we've got two surviving kids from the original set of circumstances, and they get fostered to a family in Chicago. Seemingly they've run out of sets of parents near Gatlin willing to take kids on. Can't blame them. But one of these two kids still has the he who walks behind the rose disease within him. He's still dangerous. His brother doesn't. His brother is immune, seemingly. But the kid who is a threat, his name is Eli. As soon as he gets to Chicago and all settled in, he starts murdering people, anybody who gets in his way, basically. And he wants to recruit kids from the area into a new gang of killer children, and he's also planting corn in this abandoned warehouse type setting. So in other words, he's starting an urban harvest, and it's up to his brother to try and stop his evil plans. I'll say it right now, this new setting does absolutely nothing for me. A film with this type of budget was never going to properly showcase a city like Chicago. Visually, this is not The Dark Knight or The French Connection. I would bet an entire plate of corn that this production never went anywhere near the Windy City. Probably they were filming down some back alleys in Vancouver or somewhere. I did try and find out some info about this, but there's nothing on the wiki page for Children of the Corn 3, and I couldn't be bothered delving any deeper. The foster family angle is kind of tedious as a plot device. So this couple at the start of the film, they're such nice people and they're so happy when the two teenage boys turn up to their home. But from the viewer's perspective, we know that this can't last. One way or the other, they will find out they have a murderer within their midst and their dreams will be completely shattered. My big fear was that this road of discovery would be a slow burn lasting the entire movie. But I'll give the film some credit. We don't go much past the halfway point with the whole foster family dynamic, and I was very glad about that. It meant that we had time to do other things. The stepfather character confused me. So in the beginning, he's the nicest guy you'll ever meet. He is absolutely somebody you would want to be your foster father. But after a point, he seems to do an about turn and become a corporate sleazebag. He even says at one point, "Fuck ethics." I wondered if maybe he was under the influence from Eli. Maybe Eli put the whammy on him, kind of thing. But then you get to the finale and the stepfather meets back up with Eli and you realise that there's no way that this guy is working for Eli in any way. So there's definitely some character inconsistency going on with the stepfather. Plus, there's a subplot where the stepfather realises that the corn Eli is growing is really good, and he comes up with the idea of selling it worldwide in bulk. This is his get-rich-quick scheme. This is his route into the billionaires club. He's really excited about it. But it just seems silly that he ends up sat on like the 30th floor of this really tall building in a fancy business suit, in a smarmy-looking office, and he's holding a bit of corn. And there's an investor sat across the desk from him, and they're both staring dewy-eyed at this thing as if it's like the next big discovery of the 20th century. Given that this is the 90s, I could understand it if they were getting excited about the prospects of a microchips deal or something to do with mobile phones or computers. But a bit of corn? They're like, oh yeah, we've got to do a deal on this. It's going to be worth millions. It's like these people in Chicago have never heard of corn before. It's silly. After this film is effectively over, there's one more sting in the tail scene where we see a box of corn land at the docks of some faraway city. And the idea is that this corn is going to spread everywhere now. We will have murderous children all over the world. The film is basically trying to make you go, oh, and also get you excited about a possible sequel at the same time. But I hate it when horror franchises do this. Finish with the suggestion that we're going global, because they can't always follow through with the next one. More than once during my Ring review series, we had a film that ended with the idea that, oh, Sadoko is in the phone lines now. She's in the internet. She can go all over the world now and haunt people on all 6 continents. Just think what the next film might be like. But then you get to the next one, and clearly they couldn't think of a way to do Sadoko being everywhere all at once. So they've just retconned what came before and started again, and it's really lame. Last year, in 2024, they did Smile 2, and that film committed the same sin. But I just wonder if that's a franchise that could follow through with a more global film, because it deals with much bigger budgets. But when it comes to Children of the Corn, there's no way a series like this could do World War Corn. So my money would be when we get to the 4th one, and I swear to God I haven't already looked up what's going to happen in the next one, I think they will just retcon the 3rd movie and its ending and just pretend that it never happened. Eli, i.e. the latest version of Isaac, highly irritating. There seems to be a pattern emerging in this series where every new evil child boss is a downgrade on the previous one. But I'm going to make a little bet here that it never gets more irritating than this kid for the rest of this series, because I really didn't like Eli, and the trouble is he is all over this movie. He's in most of the scenes, really. He's a bit like an evil Dennis the Menace, but that just didn't work for me. Actually, a better comparison might be with that kid from the Problem Child movies, end of the 80s, start of the 90s. Now, what that kid did, every time he was about to cause some mischief, he'd go, It wouldn't be out of place in Children of the Corn 3 if Eli did the little cheek rubby thing just before he killed somebody. But I just didn't like this villain at all. The good guys are much better in this. I really liked Joshua, the older brother. He's very heroic. He always does the right thing. He's not blinded by his love for Eli. A poorer scriptwriter would have had it so that Joshua would spend the entire movie like, no, my brother's never capable of such things. And that would go on until the final frame. It would be absolutely infuriating. But thankfully, that is not what happens here. Joshua is very open-minded to the idea that Eli might have gone bad. Joshua has a friend at school that he meets, another really cool character. The two of them have a little bromance, and Joshua meets this girl who is the sister of his friend, and he sort of starts kissing her in one scene, and the implication is that they're going to become boyfriend and girlfriend. But interestingly, Joshua then has a change of heart about moving forwards with this romance for no real reason, and spends most of the rest of the movie just having a bromance with his best friend, and he's the one he goes to confide in about what's going on with the evil kids and stuff. And the girl doesn't really get a look in until very late on. So very different approach this to what normally happens, where the boy and the girl would take centre stage and the friend character would kind of be the third wheel. I'm not sure if this way of doing things is better or worse, but certainly it's different, I guess, and I definitely noticed it. If I had to sum this film up, I'd say that it's one really bad hour of horror followed by a good half hour of horror, which kind of saves the movie to a point. I mean, don't get me wrong, this is still comfortably the worst of the 3, I'd say. But by the time I got to the end credits of this, I was sort of thinking that I could maybe watch this again in the future. I mean, if I was going through all of them, I wouldn't skip this one. I mean, I'm not going to be watching any of these for a long time after this review series, but still, I didn't think that I would develop kind of a liking for this film at around about the hour point, because this was dire for quite some time. But then you get these two amazing sequences back to finish the movie off, and I just totally wasn't expecting it. The first one takes place back in Gatlin. He who walks behind the rose takes over the body of a scarecrow. So you've got this scarecrow running around in the corn and the character's not knowing where he is, and it's genuinely quite chilling. Plus, you get an amazing kill in this scene, which I would say might be the best of the franchise up to this point. And the weird thing is, all the kills in this, up until this great kill, are pretty bland. There's people coughing up bugs and dying, and bad fire effects, and all sorts of extremely uninspired stuff. On the whole, I would say this is not a great film when it comes to the kills, but there is this one terrific one towards the end. And when it comes to the second great scene that I mentioned, you know what, I'm not going to talk about that one. If you haven't seen this film before, I'll let you discover the second wild sequence of the finale for yourself. But it's even crazier than the one with the scarecrow in the field. So if you can make it all the way to the end of this film, there are some hidden treats to discover. It's just a case, really, of whether you can wade through the quagmire to get to those cool things. Right, it's time to see how we're going to score this Urban Harvest. Bag of Terror. So we've got 1, 2.5 Michael Myers carving knives out of 5. That is pretty much my average score. To recap, I gave the original movie 3.5 out of 5 and the second movie 3.5 as well. So we've definitely taken a turn for the negative with part 3, but it's not wretched. You know, I still think there are deeper levels of hell we could yet get to with this franchise, but so far we're just about maintaining a degree of quality, and let's hope it can continue. I've no idea what's coming with part 4, but do let me know in the comments whether I can expect a better or a worse film than number 3. But beyond that, I will thank you for joining me once again, and I'll see you all again next time. Bye bye.